Over 1.5 billion websites are present in the world right now, and 95% of all are using JavaScript in one way or the other. Think of a website, and 99% chances are you thought of a website that uses JavaScript. Is JavaScript necessary for web development? Well, JavaScript is like a magical spell primarily used to make websites do cool things. Imagine you are playing a video game and want to make the character jump really high and shoot fireballs. That's what JavaScript does for websites. It makes pictures move, buttons change color, and forms work. Think of it as the magic that makes websites fun and interactive. Hey everyone, and you are already watching SimpliCode. According to the responses in the poll we created last week, JavaScript obtained 46% of the total votes. So as promised, here we are with a proper full week plan for JavaScript. This is part 1, and in this tutorial, we are going to cover all the basics of JavaScript. We'll start this video with an introduction to JavaScript, followed by the reasons to learn JavaScript. We then look at what Document Object Model or DOM means, followed by a small walkthrough to setting up JavaScript on your system using VS Code and running your first Hello World program. We then dive into the foundational concepts like JavaScript statements, comments, variables, and data types, followed by more intricate topics like control statements, type conversion, and loops. And we'll end this session by learning about functions in JavaScript. So, what's better than learning JavaScript in a week? Subscribing to SimpliCode, of course, since we upload programming-related content every day. Hit the bell icon to get notified whenever we drop a new video. So, let's get started.
JavaScript was developed in the year 1995 by a person named Brendan Eich. Brendan was working for Netscape Communications while he developed JavaScript in 10 days. There were a few changes in the name of JavaScript. Initially it was Mocha, which was later changed to LiveScript, and then it finally became JavaScript. The start of JavaScript wasn't that good, as so many developers who were using Java at that time. They considered JavaScript as a language for designers and non-engineers. No one ever knew that this small side scripting language would have a great future. Today, more than 90% of the websites out there, they are using JavaScript somehow. Many of you guys gets confused with Java and JavaScript. Let me clear it for you that both Java and JavaScript, they are different languages. They have almost nothing in common. Many people say that JavaScript was named after Java as a part of a marketing strategy to gain wider acceptance and recognition. In 1995, Java was a buzzword when JavaScript was developed. That's why they renamed JavaScript after Java. Let's move on to what is JavaScript. Have you guys ever been through a website where you can see images that slides automatically? One such website is Amazon. The home page of Amazon, where we can see different types of ongoing sales, is an example of JavaScript. In layman language, JavaScript is a lightweight scripting language used to make web pages more interactive and more lively. Earlier, when JavaScript was developed, it was only a side scripting language to do basic tasks like you can add pop-ups in your web page or you can make your web page more interactive. Nothing more than that. But now, the whole scenario has changed. With the help of JavaScript, we can create applications as well. If we talk about applications, let's take an example. Let's suppose we want to create an app. We can create it in Android or in iOS. But we have to learn few different languages to create those apps. For Android, we have to learn Java and XML, and Swift we have to learn for iOS. But with the help of JavaScript, you can create hybrid applications which can work on any platform without any problem. Tech giants like Google, PayPal, Amazon, and YouTube, they are using JavaScript these days. The evolution of JavaScript in the past few years was unbelievable. Suppose you want to create a single page website. Every one of us is familiar with Gmail, let's suppose. So Gmail is a single page website which looks more like a desktop software than a website. So Gmail is based on Angular.js. It is a popular framework by Google which is free of cost, and it is totally based on JavaScript. Now let's go over some of the features of JavaScript. These features are actually why it is considered that using JavaScript is advantageous over other languages. So let's start with some of these points. JavaScript is not a proper programming language. Indeed, it is a scripting language which works in the runtime environment just like Python. So there are few other languages like C++ and Java, they need a compiler to work. But with JavaScript, you don't need a compiler. Once you are done with the script, it will interpret and show you the output in the browser directly. Next up is lightweighted. JavaScript can provide programming facility to some extent. In JavaScript, you don't need to specify any data type or return type, which helps in making development more quicker. That's why it is known as lightweighted. JavaScript is both client-side as well as server-side technology. Client-side technology runs on the user's computer, whereas the server-side technology runs on the web browser. Initially, when JavaScript was introduced, it was introduced as a client-side technology. But with the introduction of Node.js in 2009, one can now work in the backend as well. There is a way to validate the user's data before sending it to the web server, and we can do that with the help of JavaScript. The data will be checked for correct form and value. All we have to do is start a loop, give it the condition to check the data. JavaScript is also platform independent, although originally designed to work on browsers only, but now it is a platform independent language, which means once you are done with the script, you can use it on any browser or platform without any problem. JavaScript is an object-based scripting language, although many programmers do not consider JavaScript as a true object-oriented programming language due to its lack of class concept. It does support other features of object-oriented programming, like it supports encapsulation, it supports polymorphism, and also it supports prototypal inheritance. The last but not the least feature of JavaScript is case sensitive. So when it comes to keywords, identifiers, names and functions, JavaScript differentiates between capital and lowercase letters. We have to keep this in mind while programming. Now I will quickly go over some of the JavaScript applications where JavaScript is currently being implemented. First one that comes to every person's mind is web development. It was also the main motive behind developing JavaScript. We have technologies like Angular, we have Node.js, we can create beautiful web pages. Also, JavaScript can be used along with HTML and CSS to make those static looking web pages more engaging. If we talk about other applications of JavaScript, we can use it in app development, either mobile app or web app. Like we took the example before that how hybrid apps made with the help of JavaScript can take over traditional Android and iOS app. One of the most important and unique application of JavaScript is in smartwatches. The Bangle.js is an open sourced smartwatch powered by JavaScript. Gordon Williams, the man who is currently working on this project, it is said that this new open sourced stack built around JavaScript will replace the onboard firmware soon. The next application of JavaScript is client-side validation. As we discussed earlier, JavaScript is used to validate the user data, whether the user's input is correct or not, by cross-checking it with the given condition. Like the user wants to enter in your website and you want it to be a user with @gmail.com in his email ID. So you will give that condition to JavaScript and it will cross-check it with the user's information. Like when the user will try to enter in your website, it will check that if @gmail.com is there or not in the user's email ID. So it can validate the user also. Apart from that, one more application of JavaScript is game development. JavaScript can be used to make fully fledged 2D or 3D games using different libraries. Although most JavaScript game development focuses on creating games used in browsers only. Till now we have an idea about what JavaScript is, its features and its applications. So if you want to learn JavaScript, you need to do some basic things to make your learning experience more smoother. Let's take a look at the prerequisites to use JavaScript. The first one is the basic knowledge of HTML and CSS. To use JavaScript along with HTML and CSS, you first need to know how HTML and CSS works. See, HTML is used to create the structure of a web page, while CSS is used to style that web page. In order to use these two with JavaScript, you need to have the basic knowledge of HTML and CSS, because if you want to learn a new language, first of all, you need to know why to use that technology. And to learn JavaScript more efficiently, you need to have the basic knowledge of HTML and CSS. It's better to have a web browser that supports JavaScript like Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox, or you can use Safari as well if you are using a MacBook. You will need an operating system like Windows, Linux or Mac operating system to learn JavaScript. A computer with minimum 512 MB of RAM would be enough for you to start learning JavaScript. But I will recommend you a computer with 1 GB of RAM or 4 GB of RAM for a better experience. You can use any text editor. You have Notepad, which is free and is already available for Windows. If you don't want to use Notepad, you can use other free softwares like Sublime, or you can use Visual Code. In this particular course, we will be using Visual Code, and I'll tell you how to install Visual Code and what are the features of Visual Code. Also, suppose you do not have any prior knowledge about JavaScript, don't worry about it. We will take you through the whole course and we will ensure that you can understand JavaScript. Let's start this video with some facts about JavaScript. JavaScript is the only programming language that a browser can understand. 25 years ago, when developers were thinking about a language that a browser can understand, there were a few languages that were present in the market at that time, just like Java. Still, there were some problems with these languages. That these languages need a server to work with the browser. JavaScript, on the other hand, can work directly with the browser. You write the code in the editor, the browser will go through it, it will interpret it, and then runs the program. The popularity of JavaScript increased with time. Being a language which can do so many tasks, whether it be designing a website's front end or going through any website's backend, JavaScript can do anything. By the end of 2018, over 95% of the internet was powered by JavaScript. Means almost every website out there is using JavaScript in some way or another. Do you guys know about Stack Overflow, a website for every programmer? Don't worry, you'll get to know about it once you start with the programming part. Stack Overflow states that JavaScript is the most popular programming language used by the developers. Let me quickly run you through the reasons why one should learn JavaScript, and then we'll briefly elaborate each of these reasons. JavaScript has the most powerful frameworks. JavaScript is constantly growing and is a well-paid job. JavaScript is beginner friendly and it has the largest community. JavaScript provides wide range of usage as well. Let's move on further and see why each of these reasons is important. JavaScript has the most powerful frameworks for every task a user wants to do. Like for designing a single page website, like you want to design a website like Gmail, you can use Angular.js. If you want to design UI components or user interfaces for single page application, you have React.js. You want to develop a mobile or a desktop application, let's suppose, you have Vue.js for that as well. Basically, you can do anything with powerful JavaScript frameworks. Next up is constant growth. One of the main reasons behind one should learn JavaScript. JavaScript is one of the fastest growing languages and stands among the top 10 languages used by the developers. With so much increase in mobile market, mobile web development has seen an immense rise in need of interactivity, which is possible only with the help of JavaScript. That's why JavaScript is continuously growing and there is no way that JavaScript will go down shortly. The developers working in JavaScript are well paid across the world. Anyone who wants to be a web designer or a web developer needs to learn JavaScript. It is a must-have skill for being a good web developer. We will discuss it in JavaScript jobs section. JavaScript is an easy to learn language compared to many other programming languages like Java, Python and PHP. JavaScript provides easy entry points to the world of programming. The best thing about JavaScript is that it comes pre-installed on almost every web browser. So you don't need to set up any environment to start development in JavaScript, which means you can start coding right away. JavaScript has the largest community among all the programming languages out there. Community size does matter when it comes to programming language, because the larger the community size is, the more help you would be likely to get. Currently, JavaScript has the biggest Stack Overflow community. It has overtaken Java in terms of community size and is still growing at a rapid pace. Wide range of usage. In my opinion, one of the most important reasons why one should learn JavaScript, by knowing JavaScript, you can build an entire website from its backend to the front end. Apart from that, you can also build a full-fledged mobile application. For the backend, you don't need to learn other programming languages. Node.js is enough with a bit of knowledge about database and APIs. There is nothing you can't do with JavaScript when it comes to website development. Let's move on and discuss few jobs you can take up after learning JavaScript, and we'll also discuss their average salaries in USA and in India. So the first one is a full stack developer. A full stack developer is one of the highest paid jobs in web development sector. A full stack developer is equally proficient in client side as well as server side development. A full stack developer earns around 9 lakh per annum, which is quite a decent amount of money for a person living in India. But if you are a full stack developer in US, you can earn up to $100,000 per annum, which is a huge amount. A front end developer is the one who deals with the front end of any website or application. It's obvious that a front end developer will not earn as much as a full stack developer, but the amount of money a front end developer earns in a year is decent. A JavaScript developer works on the front end and sometimes back end also. A JavaScript developer may be responsible for the whole website or just a few aspects or pages of different websites. They earn quite well when it comes to salary. A JS developer in US earns around $75,000 per annum, which when converted to Indian rupees sums around 55 lakhs approx, which is a huge amount. Designing a UI is an interesting job as it needs creativity along with skills. It's always fun to design interfaces to attract users. One should need a lot of creativity for this job. The amount of money a UI UX designer earns in India is around 7 lakh per annum, but it can go up as much as 20 lakh per annum, depends upon the skills possessed and creativity of the designer. So choose your career wisely. Let's start this video with the introduction to DOM. DOM stands for Document Object Model. It is an API for HTML and XML documents, which helps JavaScript to understand what is there written inside the HTML document. API stands for Application Programming Interface. To understand API better, let's take an example of a restaurant. Imagine yourself in the restaurant. You are sitting at the table with the menu. The chef in the kitchen is also part of the system. The waiter here works as a messenger between you and the chef. That's what API does. It works as a moderator between JavaScript and the HTML document. DOM defines the whole HTML document in a hierarchical form to make it understandable for JavaScript so that other JavaScript functions can work over it. It represents the entire document in the form of object and nodes. Whether it be elements or text or anything stored in the document, the entire page content can be accessed or manipulated by JavaScript. DOM is not used with JavaScript only. Other languages like Python also uses DOM. DOM was designed to be used independently. To begin with DOM, there is nothing special you have to do. Different browsers have different implementation of the document object model. Every browser uses DOM to make the web page of the document accessible by JavaScript. Let's move on and see what is document object model with the help of an example. I believe you guys have the basic knowledge of HTML and CSS, a prerequisite for this course. Let's start things off with a basic HTML example. Here we have a code that consists tags like HTML, head, body, heading tag, etc. We have the HTML tag here, the opening HTML tag and the closing HTML tag. Inside the HTML tag, we have the head tag, which contains the document's header part. Inside the head tag, there is a title tag that contains the title of the web page. Then comes the body tag, which contains a heading tag and two div tags with IDs as div1 and div2. A div tag defines a particular section in the HTML document. The ID used within the div tag, it is an attribute basically that has to be unique within the document to make the element unique from other elements. Next up, we have a paragraph tag with a class attribute within it. CSS and JavaScript uses classes to select and access specific elements. Don't worry guys if you have no idea about it. Let us first see the output of this code before going to the document object model of this whole document. So guys, this is the output of the previous code we just came through. Here we can see the title of the web page as well as heading after it. There were two different div tags used in the code. Here is the output of both the div tags. The question here is, where are those ID and class attributes seen in the output? The answer to this question is there's nothing on this web page that can show both of them. We can use them in our CSS file or through JavaScript to specify the containers in which they are used. So we have concluded how a normal document works and how the browser interprets the HTML code. But how JavaScript uses this code is a bit different. That's where DOM comes into play. When the actual HTML document is loaded in the browser, another representation of that document is created, known as document object model. Here's the model you can see on your screen. Each of the tags used in HTML document is correspondingly represented as objects in the DOM, like starting from the HTML tag and covering all the other tags like head, title, body, and few more. The same hierarchy as there was in the HTML document goes with the document object model also. Document object model is simply the same HTML document with different representation. The reason behind this different representation is that it's easy for JavaScript to interpret this format. JavaScript can't understand tags, but it can understand these objects. JavaScript can easily manipulate these objects using different functions, which we will see in future while working on these functions. For example, if you want to access the text present inside the heading tag, you can do it by accessing the heading tag with JavaScript. You can also work on the style of this text with the help of JavaScript as well. JavaScript uses the concept of nodes. It can access nodes of the document object model. There are many types of nodes present in the DOM. The basic three types are element node, attribute node, and text node. The element node consists of all the tags used in HTML document, like the head tag and the body tag. The attribute node contains the attributes used in HTML document. By now, I hope you have understood the concept of attributes. So JavaScript can access these attributes as well, and the user can work upon them as per requirements. The text here in the HTML document, that is simply. It can also be accessed with the help of JavaScript. It is the value of that particular element. For installing VS Code, let's discuss a few things about what is an IDE. So IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. It is a software application basically. It comprehends facilities to a programmer for software development. Just like Photoshop makes it easier for us to edit photos, in the same way, IDE makes it easier for a programmer to write code. If you want to write code, IDE will help you write that, and it will help you in software development. There are a number of IDEs present in the market today. We have Sublime, we have PyCharm, we have Komodo, we have Notepad and Notepad++ as well. But in this particular course, we will be using Visual Studio Code or VS Code we can say. So let me run you through some of the advantages that why we are using VS Code for this course. So first of all, VS Code is free to use as it is an open source software, so you can use it without any cost. It supports multiple programming languages. There is nothing like you need any web support or work on different editors for different programming. You can use VS Code for different languages. Extensions are also one of the main reasons behind using VS Code. See, you want to work on a programming language it does not support. All you have to do is add an extension, search for it, and you are good to go. It will also not affect the speed of the editor as it runs as a different process. It can also detect code snippet whether it is complete or not, like you are using a variable in your program and you forgot to declare it. VS Code will do it for you. This property is known as IntelliSense. Besides all these properties, one main key feature behind using VS Code is it is cross-platform. It is available for Mac, it is available for Linux and Windows as well. I think there are enough features we have discussed till now. There are many more features. We will discuss them while installing or while working in VS Code. So for now, let's move on to the installation process. The installation process for VS Code is pretty simple. Just go to Google and search for VS Code. The next page which will open, here you can see that the first link available is from their official website. Click on that and you will go to their official website. Here in the front you can see the download. You can download the stable version from here only. Or if you want to download it for your according to your PC's specifications, you can click on the download button present at the top right corner of your screen. Here you can see that VS Code is available for different platforms. It is available for Windows, for Linux and for Mac as well. You can download it from here as well. So if you want to download it for Windows, you can click here. It will take you to another page and it will start downloading VS Code. Once the download completes, open the setup file from your downloads and it will take you to the license agreement page. You have to agree with all the terms and conditions. You can go through the full license, but then it will take a lot of time to go through all this. Once you click on it, this window will open where you have to select the location you want your VS Code to locate. Any ID you install, the default location for all the editors is the same. You can click on browse and select any other location if you want. But for now I'll be leaving it as it is and I'll click on next. Now this will open and you will click next from here. Now it will ask you some questions like if you want to create a desktop icon or not. Select all of them and click on next. Now click on install and it will install VS Code for you. Sit back and relax, it will take time. So once you are done with the installation process, click on finish and the Visual Studio Code will start automatically. So here we are, you can see that we are on the welcome page. So let's start with these icons present on the left side of the editor. This icon here is Explorer. So VS Code works with the folders in your system. Click on open folder and just search any folder, or you can take any folder of your choice. So here in my PC I'll go to work and I'll take JavaScript as my folder. I'll select it and see, it will open the folder and I already have a few programs written over here like this, and I have a few more programs like this and this. You can open any program from that folder by using this Explorer option. You can open any program present in that folder. So basically what it does, any program you make in Visual Studio Code, you will save it in this folder only. So it will be easy for you to open any program anytime. Next up we have the search button to find any keyword or word present in your code. Whatever you write here, it will show you where it is present in your code or in your document. So let's suppose I write here SimpliLearn. See, it will show you SimpliLearn in your main screen. So you have a shortcut key for this also. Press Ctrl plus F from your keyboard and write anything here. Like it's written SimpliLearn here. Press enter and it will show you the result. The third option here is for version control. If you want to use any version control, like you want to use Git, VS Code has very good integration with Git. The next button here is for debug, or it will run your program. Once you are done with writing the code, click here and run and debug. Just open it with Chrome. You have a shortcut for this as well. Press F5 from your keyboard and it will do the same. The next button here is for extensions. Here you can find many extensions given by the VS Code community. They are free to use. For now, we will use these three extensions. The first one is HTML CSS support. Just click on the search button, write HTML CSS support. The first option, click on that and install that extension. Similarly, you have to install few more. You have to install JavaScript and TypeScript nightly. And you have to install live server in the same way. I'll tell you the use of live server in the next video when we will be writing our first Hello World program. Let me end this video by giving you a shortcut. Let's create a new file here. Click here, create a new file. Just close it. Create a new file. We will name it as new.html. So it's new.html here. One thing you have to keep in mind, while saving a file, make sure to save that file with .html extension. Here we are about to start writing our first program. So just write exclamation mark and press enter. It will do this. See, it will write the basic HTML code which you will need in almost every program from now on. So you don't have to write this code every time. Just do it this way and start writing main program. We are using VS Code Studio as our text editor to write the script here. We have already discussed the benefits as well as the features of VS Code in the previous video. So as I have already mentioned, you must have a web browser with JavaScript enabled in it. So if you are using Google Chrome, it's quite easy to enable JavaScript. Let me take you through it. Open Google Chrome, go to settings and just write JavaScript in the search option. Go to site settings and scroll down. You will find here JavaScript. Allow it if it's not allowed. In my case, it's already allowed, so I'm good to go. Once you have downloaded the editor and you are done with the environment setup and all, you can start writing the program. So let's go to VS Code. We will open a new file here and save it with a name. Let's open a new file and we will save it with name first.html. Make sure to save your file with .html extension, as it will make it easy for the computer to understand that this particular file is an HTML file. So in the last video, we installed an extension named Live Server. Let me tell you how to use it and what are the benefits of using Live Server. So let's write a basic HTML program, or just press the exclamation key and press enter. Here we are with the basic HTML program. We have not done anything yet, just edit it a little bit. We will add a heading tag, and inside the heading tag we will write a heading. Let's suppose we are writing hello. So now right click on your desktop and click on open with Live Server. What this will do, it will open your program in the browser. See, it's the basic thing. So let me tell you what its benefits are. It will open your program in the browser, and whatever changes you are making in the programs will be directly shown in the browser the moment you save them. See, just use Google Chrome or whatever browser you are using, and in the VS Code side by side. We'll be using it side by side now. Let's suppose we'll change something here. Let's add a word here, hello world. And the moment we save it, it will be reflected in your browser as well. So that's the benefit of using Live Server. We will be using it during our whole code. So now we are done with that. Let's start with the program. So here we are with our basic HTML code, which has only tags in it. It will print nothing if I remove this heading tag. Let me remove it, and the moment I save it, it will print nothing. So guys, let me give you a brief introduction to these tags. These HTML tags are used to render HTML files properties so that the browser can differentiate between simple text and HTML tags. You can use as many tags according to your requirements. In our first program, we will write a single line statement over the browser. For that, we will need the script tag. Don't worry if you don't know much about script tag. Let me tell you briefly about this tag's functionality. It is used to embed a client-side script language. Remember guys, script tag is used to embed JavaScript with HTML. This is where HTML and JavaScript comes together. It may contain the scripting statements or point towards the external script through the src attribute. We will see the src attribute as well. We'll use the script tag inside the body tag, or we can use it wherever we want to use it. Like, it's not necessary to use it inside the body tag only. We can use it anywhere in a program. So let's start with this. First, let's start the script tag. We are done with it. Now the script tag, we have to type an attribute. The attribute is, the type is, it's a text file. We are done with our script tag. To write on the web page, we use a very basic command, the document.write. It is a JavaScript method using which you can print anything on the browser. Let's see what document.write can do. Let's write here something, document.write, and any text you want to write inside it. Let's suppose hello world, welcome to SimpliCode. So guys, we are done with this. We have written a text over here, hello world, welcome to SimpliCode. Let's see what will happen when we save it. Press Ctrl+S, and the moment you save it here, it will be reflected on your browser. Here you can see in our browser, it's written over here, hello world, welcome to SimpliCode. We can define JavaScript in an external file as well. Let's see how we can do this. How this script tag will point towards an external JavaScript file. Here what you have to do, you have written script, just before type, use an attribute src and give it the source of the file. But till now we don't have any JavaScript file, so let's create a file first. Name it as script.js. Remember, you have to save it with .js extension. We are done with it and we are good to go. So here we will write document.write, and any text you want to write here. Hello world, welcome to SimpliLearn. We will save it. The moment we will save it here, there's something wrong, I guess. Okay, we have not given the source code of that JavaScript. So here we will have to give the name of that file. It was script.js. Moment we will save it. See, the text is changed here. Initially it was hello world, welcome to SimpliCode, but now it is hello world, welcome to SimpliLearn. This document.write is not interpreted by the browser. That's because this script tag is now pointing towards an external JavaScript file. Anything you will write inside this script tag will not be considered now. So we are done with this script tag here. We now have an idea of how to embed JavaScript with HTML. And now let's see some of the features of document.write. So let's suppose you have written this text here. Let's erase it and see what else it can do. Let's give it a task to add two numbers. Let's suppose we have given here 9 plus 3. Let's see if it works. See, it will give you the output directly here. Document.write 9 plus 3, it will give you the output as 12. Similarly, you will do any mathematical task, any calculation you want to do. Let's suppose 7 multiplied by 8. You can see here 12, 56, 12. Let's give it another one. 9 multiply 5 minus, let's suppose 3, and save it. See, 9 into 5 is 45, and if you minus 3 from 45 you will get 42. Here is the answer for as 42. 56 is for 7 into 8, 7 multiplied by 8, and 12 is for 9 plus 3. So with that we are done with how to embed with JavaScript with HTML. Let's move on to another concept in JavaScript, that is console.log. Console.log is a function in JavaScript that works the same as document.write, but it will not print anything in the browser. Let's give it a try. Let's clear this and suppose we write here console.log and give it a command. Save it and see, there is nothing printed on the browser. Let's write something in the body tag. We'll use a heading tag and write something here. Let's go again and go to body tag. We'll use a heading tag here as well and write something here. Let's suppose we write SimpliCode. Save it. See, this is printed on the browser. To open your browser's console, go to browser, right click here and go to inspect element, or you can use Ctrl plus Shift plus I, which I normally do. Here you can see the console option. See, it has many options like elements, consoles, sources, network, and many more. But for now, let's focus on console. Here you can see the text printed here. So what's the point of doing this? Whenever we write a code, we usually have many variables and functions and a lot of these kinds of things. We don't always know what to expect as the output. Maybe we expect a particular result, but we might get something else. One way of debugging our code is that we can pass a value to this function here only, and we can check the result of that value out of the code. Let's add two numbers here. So if you don't understand it, basically what we are doing for now, we are writing a small piece of code, like the program is not that big, but later on when we are good with JavaScript and we'll use JavaScript as a primary language, the size of the program will go longer and longer. So not every time you are supposed to check the output of your code by doing that only. So if you are using any variables or you are using any functions, you can check the output here only if you have to use that variable in that way or you have to change something. So you will get it here only. That's the use of console.log. Let's add two numbers. Remove it. A is equal to 5 and let B's value is 8, suppose. Okay, we are done with these two numbers, and we will we will write console.log. We have given it the command to add A and B. Let's see if it works here. See, the value of A plus B is 13. You can see it here in console. The value is 13. You can see it here. So here we can see that the output is 13. You can do any complex calculation here in the console. It will give you the correct answer. You can see here script.js colon 4. The number after the column is the line in script.js. Here in our file, we can see that the console.log command is in line number 4. So here it is written that it is line number 4 here. So if you click on this, you can see the script.js opened in a very small window, and you can edit it from here as well. So this is not a random line number. To prove this, let's go on to a program and let's move this to another line. See, now the console.log is in line 11. Save it, and here you can see this also changed to 11. So let's make this more complex. Add another variable c. We'll add another variable here. Let's suppose we add c here. We'll give it a more complex equation. Let's c equals to the moment we save it, it will give it the answer. Oh no, we are done with the equation. Let's change it here also. The value of c is, let's see if it works or not. Press Ctrl plus S, it's saved, and the value of c is 7. Let's see if this value is correct or not. The value of a was 5. 5 into 3 is 15. 15 plus 8 is 23. 23 plus 4 is 27. 27 plus a minus 25. Value of a is 5 minus 25 is minus 20. 27 minus 20. The value of c is 7. Say it's correct. Check it yourself if you can do something more interesting with this console.log, or you can do something more interesting with document.write. So console log allows us to debug our code, and we can use it if we are not sure about the output in a lengthy program. So let's move on to statements in JavaScript. So guys, whenever you use any programming language, you give the computer some instruction to perform any task or activity. That's common in all programming languages present out there. Like you are giving computers a few instructions to do a particular task. These instructions you are giving to the computer are known as statements. You see the code written over here. This document.write function is an instruction or statement given to the computer to write something on the browser. Like if you are writing hello world inside this function, it will print it in the browser as it is. And same for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and whatever you are writing inside it, it will basically print it on browser. Like let's suppose if we write here something else. Let's suppose we write here inside double inverted comma, welcome to SimpliCode. We save it. We are basically giving it the instruction to write this on the browser. So what it will do, it will write it as it is on the browser. These are the instructions we are giving to a machine to perform a basic task or to perform a certain task. So if you are writing a whole program for designing a website or for anything, you must be using more than one statement. You will use a lot of statements in a single program. So all these statements are separated by semicolons. Like here you can see after every statement I have written a semicolon. It's necessary. Let me show you an example. See, we'll remove this statement and we'll copy this line and paste it in the next line and write something else here. What we can say, this is our first program we will write. Like suppose I've written it, I'll give it the semicolon here. The moment I'll save it, see, you can see here it's written that hello world, the first statement is interpreted and written over here. Then second it come to welcome to SimpliCode. See, here you can see that I have not written any semicolon, but it's still showing the output. So let me tell you something interesting. So if you remove the semicolon from any of these statements here, it will work fine, which means JavaScript will forgive you for these small errors you do. But it's always a good practice to put a semicolon after every statement, because while writing a whole program in future, you will use n number of statements. And let's see what happens if you try to write more than one statement in a single line without any semicolon. Let's do this thing here. Write more than one statement in a single line and I'll save it. See, it won't work. The moment I put a semicolon here and save it, it will work fine. So that's why I am saying that it is a good practice to use semicolon after each statement. Hope you guys are getting this. Let's move on to comments. So a comment is also common for almost all programming languages. It's a line in programming language which do not have any effect on the output of the program. See, it stays there in the code, but it does not affect the output by any means. A comment may be a multi-line comment or a single line comment as well. To write a single line comment, we just use double slash in front of that statement. Like here, if we see, the output is hello world, welcome to SimpliCode. This is our first program. So to make this first statement a comment, what we'll do, we'll use 2 forward slashes in front of it and it will become a comment. So the moment we will save it, this hello world is disappeared from the output. So this is how to use a single line comment. A comment won't affect your program by any means. Let's move on to multi-line comments. To write a multi-line comment, you have to use a forward slash along with the asterisk sign. See, if you want to make these 2 lines as comments, to end a comment, we will use asterisk sign with a forward slash. These 2 statements are comments now. So the moment you will save it, welcome to SimpliCode is also disappeared from the output. That's how comment work. They won't affect your program's output, but comments are very useful in programming. It's just a note for the programmers to remember what they did at that particular part of the program. Suppose you write a program, see here the programs are not that large and the coding is not that much, but in future when you write a program, maybe the program will be of more than 500 lines or more. So suppose you write a program with more than 500 lines and come back 20 days later. So at that time you can't go through the whole code. This is where comments will help you in JavaScript. It will help you to remember what you did at that particular part of the program. So variables are named storage that a program can manipulate. As the name suggests, a variable is a value that can change according to conditions. Variables refers to those memory blocks inside the computer where we can store information. Let's suppose you want to store any value inside your computer. So variable will represent the location of that value. In simple terms, variables are cups with stuff inside them, and you can use that stuff later again and again according to the way you want to. Before the introduction of ES6 or ECMAScript we can say, which is the updated version of JavaScript, variables were declared using a single keyword only, which is where. We'll try to declare a few variables here. We'll see how where keyword works. So let's comment this thing first. So let's declare a few variables. Let's suppose where a equals to 15. We will declare where b and the value of b will be 6. We will declare where c and the value of c would be a plus b. So here we have defined 3 variables a, b and c. A is a variable with value 15 stored inside it, and so is b. The value of b is 6. But c is a variable that will contain the value of a plus b. Let's try to print this on browser. Document.write, and we will print the value of c. Save it, and here you can see the value of c is 21. That's the correct answer. So similarly you can also print a and b as well. Let's print a and b as well here. What we will do, we'll copy this line, we'll paste it for a and we'll update this here as well so it won't create any confusion. So here you can see the value of c is 21, the value of a is 15 and the value of b is 6. It shows the value of all the 3 variables we declared. But with the introduction of ES6 or ECMAScript in 2015, 2 more ways were introduced to declare a variable. These are let and const. We shall discuss these 2 terms in the later part of this session. Let me show you how to declare a variable. There are a few things you have to keep in mind while declaring a variable name. Here we have seen we use 3 variables a, b and c. That was an easy task to do, but giving a variable any name like something other than a single alphabet. So you have to keep a few things in mind while naming them. Start them with a letter, underscore or a dollar sign. You can't use any sign except underscore or dollar. So if you are giving a variable name, you can't use any other sign except the underscore or the dollar sign. You can use these 2 signs only. You can't use any other sign. You can't use a number in the starting. Apart from that, let's suppose you want to give it a name as 9BE. You can't do that in JavaScript. JavaScript won't allow you this. If you try to save it, it will throw you an error, invalid or unexpected token. So you can't do this in JavaScript. There is no limit for the length of the variable name. But you can't use reserved keywords in a variable name. Like let's try to create a variable with name as class. Class is a reserved keyword in JavaScript. We'll save it and see here it throws an error, unexpected token class. But you can use a class with capital C. Let's save it and here it will work fine. Why it works? Because JavaScript variables are case sensitive. If we try to create a variable with same name, let's see, we try to create a variable with var girl and the another variable will be var girl with capital G this time. JavaScript will treat these two variables differently. These two are different variables for JavaScript, as JavaScript is case sensitive when it comes to variables. Let's declare a few more variables. Let's remove it. We'll declare a few more variables. Let's comment this part as well. We'll declare a few more variables. Suppose we declare a variable with keyword var and we'll name this variable as bike name. Var bike name and press enter. If we leave this variable without assigning it any value, the by default value will be undefined. Let's try to print the value of this variable. Right, we will try to print the value of bike name. Save it. Here you can see the value it shows is undefined. So the by default value of a variable, if you do not assign it any value, will be undefined. Let's try to give it a value. Let's suppose we try to give bike name. We use equals to operator to assign it a value. To assign, let's suppose we'll assign it Yamaha. Semicolon and press Ctrl plus S to save this, and here you can see the output as Yamaha. You can also assign a value to the variable during declaration, as we have done in the previous examples. Here we have assigned the variable's value at the time of declaration only. Let's move on to let and const. So we will discuss let and const, but first we will compare let with var. Let is also used to declare a variable just like var is used, but there is a limitation to use let. Let is not accessible outside the block in which it is declared. So we will use let here only. Let bike name equals, and we will change this value as well. We'll change it to hero, let's say. Save it, and here you can see the output as hero. But if we try to put this code inside a block, let's suppose we put this code inside this block, a pair of curly braces, and we will again try to access document.write. We'll try to access bike name again. From here, from outside the block, we try to access this. Save it, and here you can see bike name is not defined. It is an error in line 18. So what's happening here? Basically, you can't access a let variable outside the scope. You can't access it from here, but it will work with var. If we try to replace let with var and save it, here you can see it says hero and hero, because first it will interpret this method and then it will interpret this as well in case of var. Due to its limited scope, let variables are used when there is limited use only. Like in for loop or in while loop, we will learn these loop in future. Let will not allow you to redeclare any variable. Let's understand this with an example. Here's the code as well. We have declared var bike name and we'll remove this. And first we'll try to do this with var. Let's suppose var bike name equals to TVS. Control plus S. It says hero and TVS. So the variable name, the bike name is same in both cases. Here and here as well. These are same, but with var keyword you can do that. Let will not allow you to do this. If we use let here in place of var, we'll write let as here as well, and we will change the value as well. We will give it as Kawasaki and let's suppose Suzuki here. Save it. See, bike name has already been declared. So that's what let won't allow you to do. You can repeat the same let variable in different scope. It won't create any problem, but it will not allow you to redeclare any declared variable. So let's move on to const. We use const when there are values we don't want to change or that will never change basically. So the keyword const is little misleading, as it defines a constant reference to a value, not the constant value. We can't change the primitive value, but we can change the properties of constant objects. Let's write another piece of code for const keyword. So let's declare a variable const x is equal to 5 comma y is equal to 7. Let's say const So here what we have done, we declared a variable x and a variable y with value as 5 and 7. We declared this time with const keyword, and a variable z which is x plus y. We printed z on the browser and it shows the value as 12, which is x plus y. 7 plus 5 is equal to 12. Now what we will do, const will let you do this, but if you try to update the value of x, let's suppose we try to update the value of x as x equals to x plus 10. We'll print x this time. Document.write x. Let's save this. It will throw an error, assignment to a constant variable in line 24. So here you want to update the value of x. You can't do this with const keyword. You can do this with let and where as well, but you can't do this with const. Also, const won't allow you to redeclare any variable, just like let. So if you try to use const x again is equal to 10, save it. So here it says identifier x has already been declared. This thing you can do with const. The scope of const is the same as let. It can be used within the block where it is declared. Data types is an essential concept in every programming language. To work on any variable, you should know its type. It refers to the kind of data which is being stored inside a variable. The type of variable is holding basically. Every programming language has its own set of data types which is unique in its own way. We discussed earlier that JavaScript is a lightweight scripting language because we don't need to specify any data type in JavaScript. After all the variables in JavaScript are loosely packed, or we can say JavaScript is a dynamically typed scripting language. We shall discuss these properties later in this video. For now, let me tell you about different data types present in JavaScript. So JavaScript data types are divided into two categories: primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Primitive data types are stored in stack, whereas non-primitive data types, they are stored in find and null. Non-primitive data types or complex data types, we can say, on the other hand, they are divided into two parts: arrays and objects. We'll have separate videos on these topics. For now, let's discuss primitive data types. To understand primitive data types much better, let's declare a few variables here. Let's say we declare var x and give it the value as 16. We'll declare var y and we'll give it value hello world. We'll declare one more. Let's say var flag and the value will be true. Here we can talk about those properties of JavaScript which I mentioned earlier. JavaScript variables are loosely packed and JavaScript is a dynamically typed scripting language. These 2 points refer to the same thing. Here you can see we have defined three variables: x, we have defined variable x, we have defined variable y, and flag as well. The values for all three variables is different from one another. See, variable x is holding a value that is 16, variable y is holding a value hello world, which is a string. So 16 is a number, hello world is a string, and variable flag is holding a value that refers to a boolean value. In place of true, we can also write false here. So what's happening here? Here you can see there is no data type. If you are coming from a C++ background or a Java background, this will be a little bit weird for you guys, because in C++ and Java, we used to do it like we'll define an integer. Let me show you. So how we will define an integer in C++ or Java? What we'll say, we'll use int x equals to 5 or something like that. We already had a data type. For string as well, we have char in C++, but here in JavaScript, we have no data type. We are only using the var keyword. That's what we call as loosely typed. This line means that you don't have to define the data type of the variable. What happens in JavaScript is whatever the type of value you will pass to the variable, the data type will change accordingly. So you don't need to worry about if you are passing a number or if you are passing a string. Just relax. Just when you pass the value to the variable, it will be determined automatically. So these are the three basic primitive data types present in JavaScript, which are number, boolean value and string. So let's move on to the next one, which is undefined. We'll define a variable p and we'll leave it as it is. So this variable p has an undefined data type. It means that any variable which is already declared but has no value inside it, it has an undefined data type. I'll tell you a basic operator, the type of operator. We'll go through the operators in later videos, but just try to understand the basic need and use it with me. For now, this operator will help you know the type of value a variable is holding. See, let's use it here. We have declared a variable p. We'll check the type of p. So to use this operator, you have to use it with document.write now. So we'll do document.write and we'll use two brackets, and inside it we'll write type of, and whatever, like if you want to know the type of variable x, let's suppose we'll write here x semicolon, save it, and you can see here it says number. This means that this variable has a value which is a number. Similarly, we will check for all the variables present here. We'll check for every variable. We'll check for y, we'll check for flag, and we'll check for p as well. Let's copy this and paste it 3 times, and let's change the value here from x to y in this line, and from x to flag here, and here we'll change it to p. So we have done it. We'll save it and see. Here it says number first. Variable y, it says it's a string, because you know hello world is a string. It's a sequence of character. For variable flag, it says boolean, so it's defined as true or false. And for variable p, it's written here undefined. With this, we are left with only one primitive data type, the null data type. There's a difference between a null value and an undefined value. Undefined means lack of value, whereas null means the absence of any value. Suppose you are using null as the value for any variable, the type of operator will return this variable as an object. But if you are not giving any value to this variable, you are leaving it after declaration, the type of operator will return undefined. Here's an example for this. See, we'll declare one more variable here. We'll declare var num. Let's name this variable num, and we will give it the value as null. We'll use document.write type of, and we will check with the help of type of operator that what type of value the variable num is holding. So let's give here num. We are good to go. Press Ctrl plus S and see. Here it says it's an object. So a null value will always be shown as an object. Type conversion, as the name suggests, conversion of value from one to another. In the previous video, we declared a few variables. We declared numbers. Here it shows 34 and a number. I've already told you about the use of console.log. In this topic, we'll use console.log just for a change. You can use document.write as well. There's no problem with any method you are using. Let's move ahead and we'll declare a few more variables. We'll declare a string and a boolean as well. Let's suppose where str equals to hello, and we'll print it as well. Let's copy it from here and paste it here. And we'll declare one more variable. Let's say where bool equals to true. Let's print these three variables first. See, the output is pretty simple. We can see the value and data types as well. See, 34 is a number, hello is a string, and true is a boolean value. So let's convert this number to a string first. This number 34, this is a number here, right? And we'll convert this number to a string. So how to do it? That's pretty simple. All you have to do is write a word here. Let's write here. Write string with a capital S and put 34 inside a bracket. So here we are done with it. Save it and see. Here you can see 34, which was a number first, and now it's changed to a string. That's how you can change the data type of any variable. Let's try to change a boolean value to a string now. Many of you guys gets confused with boolean. So boolean is nothing. If something is true, then set it to true, and if something is not true, like if it's false, then set it to false. See, if we talk about a real life example, say if you know how to drive, create a variable drive and set it to true. And if you don't know how to drive, set the variable to false. That's pretty simple. That's what boolean is. Let's change a boolean variable to a string. We have to follow the same steps as we did for numbers. What we did, we'll write here string and put true inside brackets. We are done with it. Save it and check the output. Here you can see the type changed from boolean to string. Like string function, we can also change a string value to a number. So how to do it? Let's take a variable. Let's say where str1 we will take. Let's say we are giving it a numeric value. Let's say 8968. And what we'll do, we'll write here console log and we'll print it basically str1, and we'll write here as well. Save it, and here you can see 8968 is a string. So how to change this string to a number? That's also a simple task. All you have to do is write here number with capital N and put this value inside brackets. Save it. And see, here you can see 8968 changed to a number. It was a string earlier and now it's a number. So if it's a number now, let's update this number and we will see if we are adding something to 8968, the value will change or not. Let's update str1. What we'll do, we'll write str1 equals to str1 plus, let's add a number, say 2. So the output should be 8970 and the type of operator will give the value as number. Let's see what's the output now. Save it and see. Here you can see the output changed to 8970. But if you add an alphabet or a character in the value, then the output will be different. Here we will copy this whole code and we'll paste it here. We'll change the value of str1 equals to str2 and we'll use an alphabet along with this number. Let's suppose it's 8968A. So A is an alphabet, and what we'll do, we'll comment this line and we'll go here and change the value str1. Here we are done with it. Save it. Here you can see it says NaN. It means that it's not a number. It won't treat this string as a number because it consists of both numeric value as well as character. Now let's try to convert a boolean value to a number. In the case of a boolean variable, the scenario is a bit different. Let's try this. Let's declare a variable. Let's say we are using var bool2 and the value will be true. What we'll do, we'll print the value here. Here you can see true, and the data type of true is boolean. So let's try to change this boolean value to a number. That's pretty simple task. Write here number and put true inside brackets. Save it, and here you can see it says 1. In case of boolean variable, the value of true is 1 and the value of false is 0. Remember this guys, keep this thing in mind. If you are changing a boolean variable to a number, then the value of true will be changed to 1 and the value of false will be changed to 0. Now let's have a look at parseInt and parseFloat as well. After which I'll tell you one more interesting function. Let's move on to parseInt first. Here I'll declare a variable. Let's suppose I'm declaring a variable, let's say var, and we'll name this variable as number. The value will be a string. Let's suppose it's 56. We'll print it console.log. Here you can see that the output is showing 56 is a string. So the data type here is string because I have used here single inverted comma. So it will take 56 as a string. Now let's suppose I want to parse this as an integer, or say I want to change it to a number. I can use parseInt as well. Apart from number, if you want to use number, that's fine. But apart from number, if you want to use %, you can use it. Let's see what happens if you use %. Use % and put 56 inside a bracket. Save it and see, here it changed a string to a number. 56 was a string earlier, right? And now it's a number. Just like %, we have parseFloat as well. ParseFloat will do the same thing, but what if you are using a decimal number here? Let's see if you are using 56.343. Save it. What % will do? It will give you, let's change 56 first. Let's suppose we are using 65 now. Save it and see. % will give you the value as 65 only. It won't show you the value, the decimal value. But if you are using here number or parseFloat, it will give you the whole numeric value. Let's see what happens if you use number here. Number and save it. Here you can see the value is 65.343. Like number, if you are using here parseFloat, let's use parseFloat here. And we'll change the value here as well. Let's suppose it's 72.543. Save it and see, here it will give you the whole numeric value of the variable. I hope this is clear for you guys. Now there is one more function you can use in numbers, which is .toFixed. So this function has by default 0 value. Let's suppose I'm using here. We have to use it here only. Let's see what happens if I'm using number.toFixed. So inside bracket we are giving it a value. By default the value is 0. Let's suppose we are giving it the value as 2. Now save it and what will happen? It will give you the value as 72.54. Similarly, if you are using here some other number, let's suppose 7. You can see we have only 3 digits here. After the decimal we have 3 digits only. That is 5, 4 and 3. What happens if we run this program now? Let's save it and see. Here it says 5430000. So it will show you the value up to 7 decimal points. It doesn't matter if there are available numbers after decimal point, but it will show you the value. Instead of 7, you can also give here 30. Let's save it and see, it says 6366 and so on. Hope this is clear for you guys. By now you must have a clear understanding of data types and we know enough about variables in JavaScript. So without any further delay, let's go through operators in JavaScript. In any programming language, an operator is a symbol that makes the computer understand that it needs to do some specific task. Like if we want to perform an addition between two numbers, let's say we want to perform addition between 4 and 5. So guys, if you see the plus sign here, this is known as the operator, and the two terms which are 4 and 5, these two numbers, these are known as the operands. We have different operators for different purposes. Like we have plus for addition, we have minus for subtraction, we have star or asterisk we can say for multiplication, and many more other operators as well. So there are many more operators present in almost every programming language which is present out there. Like operators are present in Java, they are present in C++, in C. Almost every programming language out there has the concept of operators. It's essential for you to know how and where to use any operator despite of the language you are working on. One needs to understand which operators are available, right? So in this particular video, I'll take you through the basic types of operator present in JavaScript. I'll let you know the types and we'll learn about how to use them, and of course I'll take you through the different categories of operators present in JavaScript. So in JavaScript there are basically 8 categories into which operators are divided, which are: we have arithmetic operators, we have assignment, we have string, we have conditional, we have logical, bitwise, comparison, and type of operator. We'll discuss the first 3 types in this video. That is, we'll discuss the arithmetic operators, we'll discuss the assignment and the string operators. Rest we'll talk about in the following video. First up here is the arithmetic operator. Hope you all are aware of the term arithmetic, right? So, arithmetic operators perform mathematical calculations, like it performs addition, subtraction, multiplication and division as well. So here are the few operators you can see on your screen. The plus operator, minus, asterisk, division, we have modulus, we have increment, we have decrement. So these are the basic arithmetic operator. We'll see each of these operator with an example. So let's move on to the programming part first. So guys, I want to mention one more thing here. I want all of you to make a separate file for each topic we'll be covering from now on. Like for operators, you'll create a separate file. We'll create a separate one for control statements and other topics we'll cover in future from today. So I want you to create a separate file because in future if you want to access these topics, it will be easy for you to access those files. Instead, if you are using a single file for all the topics, it will be quite confusing. So let's start with the arithmetic operators first. Let's take two variables. We are in the JavaScript file. Let's take two variables. Let's say var x equals to 6, and we'll take another variable. Let's say var y equals to 4. Now we'll perform some arithmetic operations on these two variables. We have already seen the arithmetic operators present, like we have plus, minus, we have increment, decrement, we have multiplication, division. So we'll go through all of these, right? So let's start with it. Here we are done with our basic three operators, which is addition, subtraction and multiplication. I have commented the division because I have something to tell you about the division. So let's check the output here first. Let's save it and see. The output is addition 10, subtraction 2 and multiplication 24. For addition it added the two numbers, it's 6 plus 4. Similarly for subtraction and multiplication it is 6 minus 4 and it's 6 multiplied by 4. For division, I have left division because I hope you guys know the difference between division and the modulus operator. Let's try to use the modulus operator along with the division. So what we'll do, we'll comment these three and let's remove it from here, and what we'll do, we'll paste this here and we'll use the modulus here. So now let's check the output, what it says for division and modulus. See, we have divided 6 by 4. Division, it says it's 1.5. 6 divided by 4, that is 1.5. It will show the quotient here. For modulus, it's saying 2 because in modulus it gives you the remainder, and in division it gives you the quotient as the answer. So keep this thing in mind, guys. Keep this in mind always. Take a note of it. So we are done with division and modulus. Next up we have the increment and the decrement operators. Let me show them to you real quick. So what we'll do, we'll declare another variable. Let's say where z equals to 5, and we'll use the increment operator here. We'll use again document.write, and here we'll, let's say we write increment. How to use increment operator? For increment operator you have to use plus whatever variable you have used. So we'll use plus z, and similarly we'll copy this, paste it here, and here we'll use minus for decrement, and change here as well. So let's see what happens. Let me give some space in between them so that you won't get confused. Let's save it and check the output here. Increment is, it says 6, and decrement it says 5. So you can see here the functioning of decrement and increment operator. The increment operator will increase the value of z by 1, and the decrement operator will do the opposite of this. It will decrease the value by 1. So we are done with the arithmetic operators. Next up we have the assignment operators. Assignment operators are used to assign values to different JavaScript variables. Let's see the types first and then we'll see how to use them. So we have these assignment operators here. We have equals to, plus equals to, minus equals to, and we have multiplied equals to, we have divide equals to, modulus equals to, and a few more. So let's see each of them with example. Maybe not each of them, but we'll try to cover almost every single operator out there which is present in your screen. So let's move on and see. Let's move on to the programming part. So here we are, guys. Let's declare a few variables. Let's say we are declaring a variable a, and we are giving it the value as 10, suppose. and we'll declare another one, let's say var b, and give it the value 5. So for assignment operators, what assignment operator mean? We have used here the equal to sign, right? We have used a equals to 10. This means whatever value present on the right side of the operator, like here it is 10, it will be assigned to the variable a. I hope you guys are getting this. Keep this in mind. So we have the value 10 and we are assigning this value to the variable a. It says, let's try to check the output of a. Let's try to print a on the screen. Okay, document. See, here you can see that the value of a, it says 10, and similarly the value of b is 5. So let's do one more thing. We'll assign the value of a to b. How to do this? Let's change the value here only. Let's suppose we are using the value of var a as 13. Okay, and the value of var b will be providing as, let's say, a. So now let's try to print the value of b. Here we will change, we'll print the value of b only. Let's save it and see the output. See, it says the value of b is 13 because we have assigned b the value present at variable a, which is 13. That's why it is showing the value of b as 13. This is what assignment operator is. Let's try other assignment operators as well. Let's take another variable. So let's say var a1 equals to, let's say, 51. So the next operator we will be using is, let's update the value of a1 first. So how to do this? Let's say a1 equals to, no, it's a1 plus equals to 9, and we'll print the value. Let's check the output now. See, it says the value of a1 is 60. Here we have given that a1 plus equals to 9. See, a1 plus equals to 9 is the same as, if you don't want to write here a1 plus equals to 9, you can also write it as a1 equals to a1 plus 9. Both of these lines are same. Both these statements means the same. They are performing the same task. So a1 equals to a1 plus 9 is same as a1 plus equals to 9. That's what I want you to understand with assignment operators. Similarly, if you want to perform a1 minus equals to, you can do it as well. So let's say a1